Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when you feel shattered, when everything you believed in, everything you worked for, seems to fall apart. Maybe you lost someone, failed at something big, or life just knocked you down so hard you're struggling to get back up. I get it, we've all been there. That deep, aching pain that makes you feel like you'll never be whole again. But listen to me, pain is not permanent. It may feel like it now, but this moment of struggle is just a season, not the story of your life. There are moments in life when you feel shattered, when everything you believed in, everything you worked for seems to fall apart. Maybe you lost someone, failed at something big, or life just knocked you down so hard you're struggling to get back up. I get it. We've all been there. That deep, aching pain that makes you feel like you'll never be whole again. But listen to me. Pain is not permanent. It may feel like it now, but this moment of struggle is just a season, not the story of your life. It's easy to believe that when you're hurting, the pain will last forever. The weight in your chest, the thoughts racing in your mind, the emptiness. It can feel like there's no way out. But that's not the truth. Feelings, no matter how intense, do not last forever. Just like a storm that seems endless in the night, but gives way to a bright morning, this pain is passing through. It does not own you. It does not define you. You are more than what's hurting you right now. Pain is a signal, not a sentence. It's a message, not a life sentence. It's telling you something. It's showing you where to grow, where to heal, where to let go. But it is not here to stay. The challenge is that when we are in pain, we tend to attach to it. We start identifying with it. We say, I am broken. I am lost. I am not enough. But that's not who you are. You are a human being experiencing a tough moment. And tough moments do not mean a tough life. If you look back on your journey, you'll see that you've already survived your worst days. Think about that. You've already faced pain before. You've had heartbreaks. You've had losses. You've had disappointments that felt unbearable. And yet, you're here. You made it through. That is proof that you are stronger than you think. That is evidence that no matter how painful this moment is, you are capable of healing, of rising, of moving forward. The mistake most people make when they feel broken is that they believe this pain is their new normal. They give up before the healing even begins. But you can't let that happen. You have to remind yourself that pain is part of the process, not the end of the journey. When a bone breaks, it heals back even stronger. When a muscle is torn in training, it grows tougher. When your heart feels broken, your soul learns resilience. This is not the end of you. This is the making of you. You might not feel it yet, but right now you are in transformation. You are growing in ways you cannot yet see. You are learning strength you never knew you had. You are stepping into a version of yourself that is wiser, braver, and more powerful than before. That's what struggle does. It builds you if you let it. But you have to decide. You have to decide that you won't let this pain break you permanently. You have to decide that this is a chapter, not the whole book. One day, this pain will be a story you tell about how you got back up. One day, this moment of struggle will be proof of your resilience. But that day starts when you make the choice to believe in yourself again. Even if it's just a small step, even if it's just a little bit of hope, take it. Because every storm runs out of rain. Every night turns into day. And every person who chooses to rise finds that they were never truly broken. They were only becoming something greater. What if this challenge is actually your greatest opportunity? What if, instead of breaking you, this is life's way of rebuilding you, stronger, wiser, more unstoppable than ever? What if everything you've been through is preparing you for something greater? Right now, you might feel like the weight of the world is pressing down on you. You might feel lost, uncertain, questioning why this is happening to you. But What if you shifted that question? What if instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You started asking, how is this happening for me? That shift in perspective changes everything. Life isn't happening to you. Life is happening for you. Every challenge, every setback, every heartbreak, it's all part of the process of shaping you into the person you're meant to become. The strongest people in the world didn't get that way because everything was easy. They became strong because they faced challenges, because they endured pain, because they refused to let difficulty define them. Think about a diamond. Before it becomes something beautiful, it starts as a rough, unpolished piece of carbon. It only turns into a diamond because of intense pressure. Without the pressure, without the heat, it would never transform. And that's exactly what's happening to you. You are in the process of transformation. The pressure, the pain, the struggle, it's not here to break you. It's here to reveal the strongest, most unshakable version of you. When you feel broken, it's easy to believe that this is the end of the road, that you'll never recover, that you'll never feel whole again. But that's not the truth. You have been through hard things before, and you survived, you adapted, you grew. You may not have realized it in the moment, but every past struggle has prepared you for this one. You are more capable than you give yourself credit for. What if, instead of resisting the pain, you leaned into it? Not in a way that lets it consume you, but in a way that allows you to learn from it. Every hardship carries a lesson. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's teaching you strength. Maybe it's showing you what really matters. Maybe it's clearing out things that no longer serve you. The truth is, sometimes life removes what's not meant for us so we can finally make space for something better. Think about the times in your past when something didn't go your way, but later you realized it was a blessing in disguise. The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that passed you by. At the time, it felt like a loss, but looking back, you can see how it led you somewhere better, how it opened doors you never would have considered. What if this moment of struggle is doing the same? You don't have to see the full picture right now. You just have to trust that something bigger is at play. Life is guiding you, shaping you, molding you into the person you were meant to be. But you have to keep going. You have to believe that even in your pain, even in your lowest moments, you are still on the path to something great. Your future self is watching you right now, rooting for you, waiting for you to push through this. That version of you, the stronger, wiser, more confident version, is already there, waiting on the other side of this struggle, and the only way to meet them is to keep moving forward. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What is this teaching me? That's the shift that turns struggle into strength, pain into power, and setbacks into comebacks. And that shift begins the moment you decide that this is not the end, it's just the beginning. Right now, in this moment, you get to decide, am I going to stay broken or am I going to rebuild? No one else can make that decision for you. No circumstance, no past mistake, no heartbreak has the final say over your life. Only you do. And the moment you choose to rise, everything begins to change. You might not feel strong enough right now. You might think you don't have what it takes. But strength isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. It's built in the small, daily decisions you make. It's built when you decide to get out of bed, even when it feels impossible. When you choose to take one step forward, even when you can't see the whole path. It's in those little moments that resilience is forged. Most people believe they need to feel ready before they take action. But waiting for motivation, waiting for some sign that you're ready, is the very thing keeping you stuck. The truth is, you don't need to feel strong to start moving forward. You just need to start. Action creates momentum, and momentum builds confidence. The more you move, the more you realize you can do this. You can rebuild. You can rise again. Think about a time in your life when you overcame something you once thought was impossible. Maybe it was a loss, a failure, a heartbreak that seemed like it would destroy you, and yet here you are. That version of you didn't know how they would make it, but they did. And this version of you will too, because that strength, that resilience already exists inside you. Start where you are. Don't worry about having the perfect plan. Don't wait for everything to feel right. Just do one thing today that moves you forward. Maybe it's as simple as taking a deep breath and reminding yourself that you're still here. Maybe it's reaching out to someone for support. Maybe it's setting a small goal for yourself and following through. The size of the step doesn't matter. What matters is that you take it. And through it all, be kind to yourself. Healing takes time. Progress isn't always linear. There will be days when you feel like you're moving forward, and days when you feel like you've taken 10 steps back. That's part of the process. What matters is that you don't give up on yourself. You are not your mistakes. You are not your pain. You are not the broken pieces of your past. You are a person with infinite potential, with a future that is still being written. And no matter how dark things may seem right now, the light is still ahead. Keep moving toward it. One day, you'll look back on this moment and realize it was the turning point. You'll realize that this struggle, as painful as it was the thing that led you to your greatest strength. And when that day comes, you'll be grateful that you didn't give up. You'll be proud of yourself for choosing to rise. So, stand up. Breathe. Reclaim your power. This is not where your story ends. This is where your comeback begins. You might feel like you've lost control, like life has taken everything from you, like you're standing in the wreckage of what once was, unsure of how to put the pieces back together. But listen, this is not the end. You are still here, still breathing, still capable of rebuilding. And even if you don't see it now, there is still a version of you inside that is powerful, capable, and ready to rise. Right now, the pain might be loud. It might be the only thing you can feel, making you question your worth, your future, and whether you'll ever feel whole again. But pain is not a permanent state. It is a passing moment, a wave that rises and crashes, and like all waves, it will retreat. What you feel today will not be what you feel forever. Every hardship you've ever faced has come and gone, and this will too. But you have to meet the pain with power. You have to decide right now that you are not going to let this break you. You have to choose, even if it's hard, even if it's painful, to believe that this is not where your story ends. The strongest people in the world didn't get that way by avoiding struggle. They became strong by facing it, by standing in the fire and refusing to let it consume them. Strength isn't about being unbreakable. It's about being willing to rebuild again and again, no matter how many times life tries to knock you down. It's about deciding that you are bigger than what has happened to you, that your future matters more than your past, that no matter what you've lost, you still have something to fight for. You might not see the way forward yet. That's okay. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to take the first step. Maybe it's getting out of bed and facing the day. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who can remind you that you are not alone. Maybe it's setting one small goal and proving to yourself that you are still capable of movement. The step doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something. Because the moment you move, even just a little, you break the illusion that you are stuck. Your power is in your choice. You can choose to stay in the pain, to let it define you, to let it convince you that this is all there is. Or you can choose to rise, to push forward even when it hurts, to believe that there is more waiting for you on the other side. The moment you make that choice, everything starts to shift. And listen, give yourself grace. Healing isn't about perfection. It's not about moving forward without ever looking back. It's about progress, no matter how slow. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel like you've fallen back into the darkness. That's okay. That's part of the journey. What matters is that you don't stop moving. There will come a day when you look back on this moment and realize it made you stronger than you ever thought possible. You will see that this pain was not the end of you, but the beginning of a new chapter. You will stand taller, speak louder, and walk forward with the unshakable confidence that no matter what life throws your way, you will always find a way through. So take a breath, stand up, step forward. You are not broken. You are becoming. And this is just the beginning. Healing takes time, but purpose speeds up recovery. When you feel broken, it's easy to get stuck in the pain, to replay what happened, to overanalyze the past and wonder why things unfolded the way they did. But at some point, you have to shift your focus. You have to stop looking at what you lost and start looking at what you can build. Pain can trap you, or it can fuel you. The choice is yours. No matter how lost you feel right now, you still have a purpose. There is still something inside of you that the world needs. Your story is not over, and as long as you're still here, you have a reason to keep going. The problem is when we feel broken, we start to believe that we no longer have value. We think that because we're struggling, because we're hurting, we have nothing left to offer. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Some of the greatest transformations come from the darkest times. Think about the people who inspire you the most. Chances are they didn't get to where they are because life was easy. They got there because they struggled, because they fought their way through adversity, because they refused to let their hardships define them. And the same is true for you. This pain is not the end of your story. It is the chapter where everything changes. But for that to happen, you have to start looking forward. You have to ask yourself, what do I want my comeback story to look like? Do you want to look back on this moment and see it as the time you gave up or the time you found your strength? Do you want to let this pain hold you down, or do you want to use it as fuel to rise? The decision is in your hands. Start small. Find something that gives you a sense of meaning, something that excites you, something that reminds you of who you are beyond this pain. Maybe it's reconnecting with a passion you set aside. Maybe it's setting a new goal for yourself, something to work toward. Maybe it's simply showing up for the people who love you and letting them remind you of your worth. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You just have to take one step towards something that makes you feel alive again. The more you move toward purpose, the more the pain loses its grip on you. When you have something to work for, something to strive for, something that fills you with energy, you stop identifying with your brokenness. You start to see yourself as someone who is healing, who is growing, who is stepping into their next chapter. That shift in identity changes everything. And don't be afraid to use your pain to help others. Sometimes the best way to heal is to take what you've been through and turn it into something meaningful. Maybe someone out there is struggling the way you once did, and your story could give them hope. Maybe your experiences could inspire someone else to keep going. Your pain does not have to be wasted. It can be transformed into something powerful, something that makes a difference. One day, this moment of struggle will be behind you, and when you look back, you'll see that it was the thing that made you stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. You'll realize that the version of you who thought they were broken was actually in the process of becoming something greater. you'll see that this pain wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a new chapter, a new purpose, a new strength you never knew you had. So don't stop now. Keep moving forward. Keep believing that there is something better ahead. You are not broken. You are becoming. And your greatest days are still waiting for you.